Yaga, go to bed. If not, then have fun on your run. Thank you. Hey Wookie, greetings to you Anomalison, and greetings to you Drazar. I hope you guys are doing well. And well, this first run is going to be just a little challenge run. I have no idea how long it's going to take. But I just want to get it started, to be honest. Yeah, we have a ranger as the first job already. I'm curious how that's going to work. So... I would say let's just get this started, might as well. Hey Miss Beady, how are you doing? It's your birthday and you're doing 4 jobs. Oh, happy birthday Drazar. Happy birthday to you, sir. Hope you have another pleasant year. And probably, hopefully it's going to be more pleasant than the one before. So, I'm actually... I want to start a timer here. Oh, that's the wrong thing to remove. There we go. As mentioned before, or already in the stream title, I'm not going to narrate this playthrough, I'm going to narrate another one. I will be just playing through this one. Because this is going to be a bit of a challenge one, and that's going to be fun, hopefully anyways. I like stupid challenges after all. Some of you may or may not know that. Okay, let's see, where is my timer? This kind of works. Let's see whether I can... Oh, I see, I need to change the layout really quick. So the idea is that this would be transparent afterwards. Somehow. Oh! I have a timer like that already. There we go. That makes that a bit easier. I think the timer over here makes more sense actually. I'm not going to play through this in one go, by the way, guys. I doubt I'm now even getting particularly far, to be honest. But hey, let's see how far we get. So for anyone who does not know, this is the SNES version with a fan translation patch. The original SNES version was only in Japanese. I do have a Japanese cartridge, but well, I'm not that good at Japanese. So I'd rather play in English, to be honest. Would be hard pressed to be worse. Well, I mean, in a sense it can only get better, but in that case I will hope it's getting much better, Drazar. Work hard and go for it. You can do it, sir. Good luck. I definitely know the feeling that can't get any worse than last year. But if you just keep trucking, it will work out. This is really loud. Okay. Order of operation. Ah, god. It's different menus again. So, active, battle speed, 1. So, for anyone who does not know, battle speed 1 means that the enemies get quicker turns. Casually you want to play on battle speed 6 because it really only affects how fast the enemies go. The faster you set it up, the faster the enemies go. So basically it is kind of like a difficulty meter. You're going all the way to 1. Short, so we have a quicker access to menu. Memory cursor, so everything stays. Empty equipment instead of optimizing it. And window color. I like purple. Let's go. This is so different playing this compared to the Game Boy Advance version. For anyone who does not know, I have been playing a lot of the Game Boy Advance version recently, just because that was the version for the opening race run. And I put a lot of time into that. So, order of operation, we hold the A button to win here. Goblins are not particularly strong, they don't have anything special going for it, they are just the introductory oh, how does the battle system work type of kind of boss. You gain experience and gold after every battle, and ability points if you already have a job selected. Someone not familiar with Final Fantasy V, we will be gradually unlocking more and more jobs over the course of the game. Select the name. Let's go with the standard. I did not take that one through. So, we will be gradually unlocking more and more jobs over the course of the game, I believe up to 22 in the end. And essentially when you select a job that you can be as a character, you are allowed to use that job's abilities. Like a white mage just has healing and support spells, a black mage has offensive damage type spells. There are more complicated classes like blue mage, where you can learn abilities from enemies and use them as spells in combat as well, and just various types of classes. Those jobs get unlocked whenever you get to the next crystal, and also I think there is at least one hidden job that you can only get very late in the game. Currently we are the bear job, or the freelancer as it is called. And that job is just, well, it doesn't do anything special at all. The idea of the freelancer job is it gets more and more powerful the more you master the other jobs. Like if we get maximum level on White Mage, he would gain additional magic power and spell points on the bear job. If we would level up all the magic type classes, the bear job would be an incredibly powerful magic user. Also, in this game you can equip an ability from a different job class, like the white ability allows you to cast white spells for healing and support purposes, and you can use that for your job class. If you are, let's say, a black mage, you equip the white ability, you can cast healing spells as black mage, and so you can mix and match many types of abilities and useful things. And the special thing about the bear job is that he can equip 2 of those abilities and just kind of freely mix and match them. On top of that, the bear job also has the ability to equip literally every single piece of armor in the game, which most of the jobs are heavily actually pretty much all the jobs are restricted to their special type of equipment. A monk cannot equip any weapons, a knight can only equip swords, daggers, and stuff like that. A beastmaster can only equip whips and daggers. You get the idea. So essentially the bear chop would allow you to combine the most powerful weapons with really powerful synergies. However, we need to unlock those. So, as I said, there's up to 22 chop classes that you can have in the end. The special thing is essentially that for the 4-chop Fiesta type of challenge, we are restricted to 4 of those jobs, randomly picked and chosen. I decided to go with the modifiers of Chaos, which means I can get any job at any time assigned to me. So as the first job, which is normally the Wind Crystal, I got the Ranger, which I believe does not unlock until we get to the 3rd crystal. So until then we will have to stay the bear job classes. The idea of the 4-chop Fiesta is that if you have that job unlocked, you have to have everybody, or at least one person, be that job. And you can no longer be a freelancer as soon as you have any of the allocated jobs available. Currently, we will be staying a freelancer until the War Crystal at least, and then we will unlock another job that we will be able to use over the course of our journey. I'm actually curious as to why the picture in the background is the one of the red crystal instead of the green one in the top left. Oh well. How long does the 4-chop Fiesta last this year? Something like September? Don't ask me whether it's beginning or the end of it though. I don't know that. Greetings, Lara, baby. How are you doing? Shoutouts to better music on the SNES. Actually, yes. So there are various versions of this game. The first official English release was on the PlayStation, which is infamous for its really terrible translation. Like really terrible translation, all things considered. On top of that, it has horrendous load times, so it's just kind of extremely awkward to try and play that version, really. So, now we have 3 party members and, well, we are just moving along. I don't have any intention of fighting any battles here, because we will be able to fight enough battles along the way. Over there is a spring that you could go to for healing purposes if you'd like to, but since we didn't really take any damage of note here so far, that's not really necessary. So I'm just running away. We could fight those enemies for a little bit of experience, but they don't give a whole lot. In before Blue Mage and the Odawin, yes. So, the first chops you would unlock, which by the way, if you do just a regular 4-chop Fiesta, you will get assigned one of the wind chops instead. So you will be able to use, well, assigned chop as soon as you unlock the wind crystal. Those are Thief, White Mage, Blue Mage, Knight and Monk, I believe. I don't think I forgot any. Hey XF, how are you doing? Purple. So, we just kind of walk along. As mentioned, the first release was on the PlayStation for official English audience. There was basically that fan translation patch here that I'm playing for the SNES version. It's not official, but you can buy a retro cartridges for this if you like to. Or just play it on a SD2 SNES or something like that, like a flash card for the SNES. Other than that, we have various other useful versions. More specifically, the commonly considered to be the best version is also shoutouts to the music, I love this music here. The commonly accepted as best version is the Game Boy Advance version. The Game Boy Advance version is really good. It has a solid translation, and it has quite a few quality of life changes. The one downside of it is that the music quality suffered a bit because the Game Boy Advance hardware is not quite capable of the same sound quality as the Super Nintendo. But overall it's a really good version. I highly recommend you play that one if you'd like to get your hands on a simple English release. Then there's also the iOS, as in mobile version of it. Yeah, that's a thing, I guess. I don't really know much about it, except that the Steam version, as in the PC version, is basically the mobile version, just ported to PC, which it looks about like that. Unfortunately, the looks of it is just really questionable, as in it looks like an RPG Maker game. Or more specifically, I've seen RPG Maker games that look better in terms of just cohesion of the layout. So it's really questionable about that. Plus the UI is not all that fantastic for a PC release. So not a fan of that, to be honest. On the other hand, the enemy sprites in the PC version actually look really awesome in my opinion. I don't know about music, I have yet to play that myself actually. Greetings Metal Bear, how are you doing? You had never considered how busted Blue Mage is for this game, but yeah, level 5 death. Yes. Yes indeed, there is a patch to restore the the SNES music to the Game Boy Advance version music. Speaking of music, maybe the only upside of the PlayStation version is a little bit of enhanced music. I dare to say for the most part, almost all music sounds better on the PlayStation, except for the big battle on the bridge, which is actually a bummer because that's one of the best themes, if not the best themes for most people for this game. Oh, by the way, a few quality of life choices changes for the Game Boy Advance version, for example, are that you have a quick save, so you can basically on the console just literally save anywhere and restart from there anytime you want. On top of that, in the SNES version, you need to have a thief in your party in order to be able to run over the overboard. You see a kind of rather slow-paced character movement. If you have a thief in your party, you can speed that up by about double. On the Game Boy Advance version, you can naturally already run, but you can run even faster if you have a thief in your party, which actually makes pretty insane speed for that version. Either way, as I said, quite a few quality of life changes. I'm just kind of used to the SNES version, and I really like it. Plus, I will have to be honest, I'm not a fan of the smaller resolution of a Game Boy screen, but that's just me. You're fine, glad to hear that, Metal Bear. I'm already up, I guess so. I think I've slept about 3-4 hours, something like that. Maybe 5 or 6, I have no clue. Either way, Kishura started streaming Forza Fiesta, and I really wanted to start mine as well. So, here this guy asks you, hey, should I drive you over to the wind shrine? No thank you sir, I can drive by myself. And we just drive over to wind shrine by ourselves. Also we now have 4 party members in our party, pretty quick if you ask me. And we are now in the wind shrine. The wind shrine is a pretty straightforward place to walk and run through. I'm probably going to just casually stroll through this place and pick up most of the chests. I'm not going to care about being fast. Even though I have a timer running, I'm basically just, well, it's weird if I don't have a timer running, to be honest. Also, one thing I need to get used to is I cannot hold a direction in order to advance the text box. Oh, by the way, this is a save point. You can use tents to restore your HP and MP and also revive dead characters on the save points. Good morning, Hotshot. How are you doing? One thing I just noticed is I think the SNES version has slightly longer loading times until you get into battle compared to the Game Boy Advance version. That's interesting. And greetings to you, Dave the Fade. Yeah, I just really like this game. You level up a little bit, and those levels are going to be quite handy. I hope you enjoyed the race. I did definitely enjoy the race quite a bit. That was fascinating to say the least. So, currently our friend Galef here, the third member in our party, does not have any weapons, so he attacks barehanded. Fortunately, there is actually basically just a weapon around the corner here, so we don't need to worry about that. Plus there's nothing really terribly dangerous here anyways. Also there are hidden passages. If you know those, you can sometimes take a bit of a shortcut. So we get the broadsword. And you might be wondering, why don't you equip that? I am going to equip it as soon as I face this boss here. Stand guard! And as mentioned before, this is active time battle. That means we need to do all our menuing and actions quickly, otherwise we are going to lose to this guy, since he is not going to wait. Normally in this game, if you have control over combat, the enemy is just going to wait until you take your action. Also, this guy is way faster than usual, I tell you that much. So, you cannot actually hurt him while he is closing in his wings, which is interesting because those are actually two separate sprites. Also, I do want to make sure that Ferris pretty much always attacks, since she has the best weapon currently equipped for dealing damage. However, this guy is not all that strong overall, and we defeat him reasonably easily. We get a Phoenix Down for our troubles. Phoenix Down in this game are kind of rare-ish items, in the sense that they are really expensive, like 1,000 per Phoenix Down if you want to get them. And here we go, this is where you unlock the wind jobs for the first time. Good evening, God's Blackarm. Sorry I missed you there earlier. How are you doing? I am doing the Forza Fiesta, yes. Poor Genya, yeah. So for anyone who did not catch it, there was the opening race to this entire Forza Fiesta season, so to speak. And I was actually, for the first time, a participant of it. I spent 10 to 11 hours over the course of the last 2 days, like 5 or 6 days or so, preparing for it. And also Genya 23 was one of the racers. Unfortunately, his internet connection just completely bit the dust, basically, and he could not stream. But he actually was quite a champion and ran along offline anyways. And eventually he managed to actually join the Discord and communicate with us over voice, and he was actually reasonably well off. So that was pretty nice to hear of him. Other than Genya 23 and me, there was Elmagus, who ended up being the fastest one in that race, and Puwexel, who probably was last, but by far not the least. Considering he didn't really have any practice since he was really occupied, I think he was doing really well, to say the least, especially with notes of someone who just kind of makes stuff up on the fly anyways and doesn't really stick to notes. That was Omaga's notes. Can you ever get the last crystal shard? Yes, actually, you can. You can get that one. Maybe we're going to visit there in this run. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. Maybe I'll do that in the narrated run and just kind of make this more of a let's just casually stroll through stuff. Like who's winning the race? A fact that surprises no one. I guess so. I did actually plan on giving him a good fight, but I definitely think my less experience, well, me having less experience in menuing and the like definitely made this a little bit difficult. So, alrighty, we are now into the first talk. Now what job is it? It's mime. You actually can go back to the water shrine, which by the way is not this one. You can go back to the water shrine if you really want to. And basically visit the water shrine underwater via submarine. And that's how you get back in there. You actually only have very limited time on getting through there. I believe you have to get through there in 7 minutes. Also, once again, I need to get used to not holding a direction. So, we can play the piano in this game. There are a total of 8 pianos in this game. You play all of them. You get really good at the piano. And also that actually unlocks a song for one of the job classes if you play all pianos. We don't know whether we are going to get a bard class, but hey, if we do, we are just going to go ahead and play some piano. Also, piano flex is always fun. Come on in, please come on in. Okay, this is the beginner's house. Even though I'm not a beginner, I'm just going to go in here anyways because there's a lot of really good items. Also, this guy, those guys explain to you. Also, the thief can reveal hidden passages, or you can just kind of randomly fight them by yourself. Sometimes there are enemies in a box, like this goblin here, and we get back attacked. The back attack is not part of the script. That's just bad luck. So when you get back attacked, you get shifted from the front row into the back row. We do get a leather helmet out of... Wow, we actually got 2 leathers. Thing is nice. Yeah. Oh. Basically, if you're in the front row, you deal 100% physical damage and take 100% physical damage. If you're in the back row, you take 50% physical damage and steal 50% physical damage. That's the short version of it. That's not exactly how it works. Sometimes you deal a little bit less, and sometimes you take a bit more. Sometimes you deal a bit less damage from the back row than 50%, and sometimes you take a bit less damage from the back row as well. It's just all based on how the calculation ends up working out in this game. For the most part, casually speaking, those specific calculations are not really all that relevant. Unless you're doing a challenge type of run where you want to optimize everything and you kind of need those levels and stuff like that. So, just picking up various things along the way. Do I need to play the piano? No, I do not have any need to play the piano yet, but in case I do get a bard job class, I definitely want to play all the pianos, and maybe I'm just going to do it anyways for fun. Because why not? So, as mentioned, because we don't have any jobs unlocked yet that would allow us to, well, access any of the jobs, we're just going to stay the bear job class. The bear job class, at least as long as you have not mastered any of the other jobs, is kind of lackluster in terms of stats. Overall, it is below average on pretty much everything. But it is definitely a huge advantage being able to equip literally any equipment piece that you find over the course of the game. So, for anyone who also does not know the story and the stuff of this game, Final Fantasy V overall is not all that serious. It doesn't take itself too serious. It's pretty light-hearted for the most part. It does have its moments, but I'd have to say for an RPG story, it is pretty straightforward. Nothing too special, but, well, like pretty much most RPGs, as I said, it does have its moments, and I like it quite a bit. My main favorite thing about this game is essentially the boss fights, because they can be extremely rough to play and just kind of handle, so to speak. So we'll see how well that's going to go for us. So in the inn here there is the vendor for some stuff. I'm actually going to sell an ether here because that will give us a fair bit of money, and I do think we need to stock up on quite a lot of potions since we don't have any other way to heal with our job classes that we have right now. But Captain! I just like how varied this game is. So, if you... Probably most people know Final Fantasy VI by now, maybe have even played it. If you have played Final Fantasy VI, it has basically a completely different approach to the entire gameplay and is very unique in that. So this game is more in a classic style of a, well, JRPG anyways. And while I absolutely love Final Fantasy VI, one of the downsides of how Final Fantasy VI does the entire game is that all the characters can do more or less everything. They have slight advantages or disadvantages, but there's nothing too strong about one or the others. On the other hand, for Final Fantasy V, each job, because you have always access to just freely switch whenever you want, at least if you're not restricted to that by a challenge rule set like the 4-job Fiesta, you do have the opportunity to basically have a few more, I dare to say, interesting boss fights, because they can be rather extreme and also with a certain combination of characters, fairly difficult at times. Especially if you're not necessarily knowing what you're doing. But those jobs can be really tricky to play through with. With the bear job at the beginning, it's not too difficult, as mentioned, because we can pretty much carry any weapon. Anything is rather straightforward. So fun fact about those enemies here, they only attack the female characters. I'm going to be defending with Lena here. Fairies does too much damage for me to not just attack with her as well. Lena gained the level, Galaf gained the level. Speaking of levels, maybe I should equip everybody. So, let's equip leather shoes. Everything here as well. A leather helmet. And I guess that's that. I'm going to put Lena into the back row, give her a potion. And that's why I bought so many potions. I definitely will need quite a few more here. I feel like I would like to have some more levels before we move on here. So, if I target an enemy that is already dead or about to die, or get removed from the battle one way or another, that enemy will, or that character will target a random enemy with whatever he is using. Also, enemies also do have back and front rows based on their formation. It's not always obvious as to which one is back row or front row. Also, if you kill the enemies in the front, that's really unlucky. Don't do that. If you kill the enemies in the front, you will have access to the enemies in the back. So, come on. I would like to have one more proper battle. So we get everybody to level 4, that's the idea. Decided to attack Ferris, we definitely will need to heal her. Let's see, do we get some levels? Moth gained a level. So, okay, that means one more battle pretty much for everybody to gain another level. Potions in this game only heal for 50, but if you don't have a healing class, only having to use potions actually makes this rather tricky, since you will want to heal in combat once in a while, to say the least, but you are restricted to only having 50 potions. That's not a whole lot. 50 heal per potion, as you might be able to imagine. That was not enough, apparently. Come on, one more battle before we go through here. As you might be able to imagine, there is going to be a boss fight right after this. And I would like to have a bit more of an HP buffer here before we move through this. So Len and Galaf got the level, everybody's now level next level. We use a potion to get everybody to proper HP values and we move on. Alrighty, boss time. This is the first real boss, so to speak. So this is going to be a gigantic lobster called Carlobos. He has 650 HP. He is overall kind of strong. He has two abilities that he can use. One is Tentacle, which paralyzes your character. And also deals a bit of damage. Okay, Lena got hit, that's okay. And Tail Screw is the other ability here. Tail Screw reduces your character's HP to critical, which means critical is less than 10 HP. I'm going to be using mostly potions here with Lena, since she deals the least amount of damage, having the weakest weapon, and also she has the weakest base stats out of any characters for physical combat. She has the highest intelligence though for spellcasting, which, well, currently doesn't really matter. Hey Nissan, it's going quite well. How are you doing? And Fingu just subscribed to Twitch Prime. Thank you. Thank you so much and welcome. I hope you're doing well. And well, I hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you so much, Fingu. Also, feel free to correct me on how to pronounce your name. That was a bit risky here. I figured the enemy should be dead soon, so I actually didn't want to heal. But Ferris could have died there if he attacked Ferris. This is actually pretty interesting because now I need to be pretty quick about selecting my actions, otherwise this kind of thing happens. So I'm actually not going to worry about reviving Galuf here, because boss fights do not actually give you experience, they only give you ability points. Ability points are used for jobs. Ooh. Okay, use tail screw instead. I'm okay with this. It's actually pretty new in the sense that I have to now pay attention to being quick. Alright, there we go. Victory! And you see, we didn't gain anything from the combat because we also don't have any class that can earn ability points. We didn't assign any job, as you would normally be expected to. I'm saying it correctly. Alrighty, thank you so much, Fingu. I appreciate that. You're kinda like you right now, pumped but too tired to play, sadly. Oh, okay. Well, you can play soon, I guess. It'll be fine. Sildra! No. This has to be one of the saddest sound effects. As in, it's really well done. Am I a freelancer until Ranger Crystal? Yes and no. So it's actually possible that once I get to the Water Crystal and unlock my job, I will get access to a job that I can actually use. Which one it might be, we don't know. If it's Berserker, it's actually going to be a bit of a grind. Oh god, actually, that could be a thing, because I have Berserkerrisk. So, alrighty. Because Sildra was our carrying animal of the ship and there's no actual wind, we are just kind of drifting on the boat until at some point we arrive in the ship graveyard. There are tons of undead enemies here. We do get a free heal while we are at it. Full berserkers with death size incoming. Would be the worst. The thing is, I would only need to go ahead and defeat Liquid Flame with only berserkers, which I've done all berserkers before, so that's a thing. So those skeletons, oopsie, I did not mean to use a potion dash. Those skeletons are kind of weakish enemies, but because we are on the highest battle speed, we still need to be kind of cautious about fighting any. What I could do is give them a potion, because undead enemies of course are susceptible to being healed and they take damage instead of getting healed, naturally. Boom. If we are lucky, we get a dagger drop here from one of those skeletons. We were not that lucky. But a dagger would be a better weapon for Lena, so she would be able to actually deal some decent damage. On the other hand, there is a small hidden passage over here, where we will be able to acquire a weapon, that is the flail. The flail is a nice weapon because it allows us to deal full damage from the back row. Which also means we do actually now have a weapon, more specifically a dagger. I'm going to go ahead and equip the flail on Ferris. The reason why Ferris is because she is the fastest character we have in our party. It doesn't make much of a difference. Most likely it doesn't make any difference at all. Although I guess it could, since we have higher battle speed. Single skeleton. So flails have the nice property of dealing full damage from the back row, so that's nice. The downside is their damage is extremely variable, like every weapon has a base damage and the flail has a range of 50% less damage or 50% more damage. So that's a pretty huge range to say the least. Oh boy. Don't kill him. Also, it has a 30% chance to miss, which is a lot of chance to miss to say the least. Those skeletons might actually prove to be quite a challenge here. So, I knew that guy would die, so I decided to target another character already. So, also there is something called the agility bug in this game, where knives originally, probably, in the original development of the game, were intended to give you a bonus based on whether you have agility, as in most weapon scales of strength, actually all weapon scale of strength, but some were also supposed to scale off of agility as well on top of that. I'm going to run out of potions here. Wow. I guess I should have bought more. However, the code is kind of, sort of, somewhat left in the game still. Also, we just got an elixir drop, which is really nice. Elixirs in the Final Fantasies, as you may or may not know, fully restore your HP and also your magic points. We don't have any use for magic points yet, but fully healing can be really nice. And also, I say, use elixirs when you are in peril. Just do it. Don't be thinking, oh, I can probably get out of this. You might be able to, but you might as well take the easy route with using elixirs, else you're never going to use elixirs. I'm not planning on grinding anything. I will probably grind a little bit in the graveyard here, because those enemies are dealing way more damage, because we are on active time battle. So we definitely want to get a little bit stronger. Soon we will actually have a good opportunity to go ahead and grind a little bit, because there is just a free healing spot. Essentially just along the way. People have tried patching the Aegis agility skin bug daggers get broken really fast, but it seems they were balanced around the bug. Yes, daggers were definitely balanced around the, well, bug, really. So, I'm actually questioning whether that was really a bug, or whether they just kind of left it intentionally in there. So, the way it actually now works in the formula is there is kind of leftovers in the code for how agility works with the daggers, and the way it is coded is that sometimes it gives you +1 attack modifier, sometimes it doesn't, which especially early in the game can be kind of a big difference, since attack modifiers essentially have a base damage and that gets multiplied by the modifier. And if you have a modifier that multiplies with 3 instead of just 2, that makes quite a difference. But the agility is not exactly intuitive. It's not the higher agility, the more secure you have the modifier. No, that's not how it works. The way it actually ends up working is that it just takes a rather odd value, you could say. It's basically just how bits work. The first 8 bits of the number, if they equate to, I believe, 256 or more, they will give you +1 attack modifier. For casual play, that just kind of means randomly you're going to deal a bit more damage or less damage. Actually, I have not really much of a clue how to calculate myself. I just know it can be a thing. So here's the big reveal that Ferris is actually a lady. She pretended to be a man because she is the leader of a pirate crew, and ha, a girl cannot just be a pirate, right? That would be silly. Also, this is the place where we get free heals. We can return to here pretty much anytime we want, and I will definitely be taking advantage of that a little bit here until we are a bit stronger, because the upcoming boss will be a fair bit of a challenge. Let me actually try to look up. Also, by the way, I really like this cutscene. Watch the Gallop. I just love that those little animations. They are so nicely done. Then he just shakes his head and whoop. Okay, let's go. You promise you're going to slow. Don't worry about it, Nisan. Enjoy the show and please do go ahead and interrupt me when you have any questions or anything like that. So, here is actually a really nice grinding spot because, as I said, we are literally right next to a healing station. Might as well take advantage of that. So those are undead rusks. Undead rusks have a chance for a rare drop of an elixir. Rare drops in this game are always 1 in 16 chance. Yes, this is the Super Nintendo version with the fan translation patch. So let me actually see real quick. Everybody gains a level. What level are you guys? You are level 6. The stats you can see here. Ferris has 27 strength. Galef also has 27 strength. Lena has 2 less strength. Wow. And Bots has 1 more strength. So that's why Lena generally is just not so physically powerful. Also, stats in this game are always determined by the class you have equipped, so to speak. I just say equipped because that's easier to say. So, because stats are flat, as in just fixed, any equipment that changes stats around a little bit, like gives you +1 strength or +1 agility, can have a huge impact. Usually the huge impact is more from +1 to strength, based on your level, since how damage calculation works is the damage numbers with the modifiers are always rounded down, which means unless you reach a next full number, you will not see any increase in damage. So that's also why you sometimes see, oh, you're not dealing much damage, and then suddenly 1 more level, oh boy, we just deal almost double the damage. Kind of based on how modifier and defense interact with this entire concept. Also, that was really unlucky. They just focused down Galef. I'm not going to bother reviving him. As mentioned before, we are right around the corner for a free healing spot, and I do want to take advantage of that. Also, experience in this game is divided among all living party members. That also means everybody just got a little bit more experience because Galef didn't get his share because he was dead. Sorry, Galef. Okay, let's see. Butts has 28, Ferris has 27, Galef has 27, Lena has 25 strength. We're currently level 8. Next modifiers are going to be at 9 and 10. 10. Alrighty. We are probably just going to grind up to level 11, where everybody gets their additional attack modifiers. Oh, we're on level 6. Maybe we're not going to go quite that far, because that might take a while. Although, you do probably want to have a bit of a buffer for the upcoming boss. The thing is, unless I specifically reach level 11, we are not going to see much of an increase in damage. Well, we won't see any increase in damage at all. Is Super Famicom too different from SNES? No, it's the exact same thing, essentially. It's just a different language. As in, you can play Super Famicom games on a US Super Nintendo, not a PAL one. Or vice versa, as long as you can fit the cartridge into the slot. This is the SNES version. And yes, the SNES version never came out in well, in the US, also not in this place here. So let's see. Paris gained the level. Let's just say we go all to level 7. What is level 7 for everybody? Level 7 really doesn't matter. But it will give us a nicer HP buffer. Okay, we are just going to go level 7, maybe level 8, depending on when we need to go to sleep, and afterwards we just move on. We are still kind of potentially hoping for a dagger drop, because I think butts deals slightly more damage with a dagger compared to using a broadsword. Also, by the way, I've been walking around in this room for hours when I did a solo character solo chop challenge. That is what was with the white mage. That was pretty lengthy. I'm glad I did it, but I probably would not do it again. So Final Fantasy 5, excuse me, lends itself really well for challenge runs. Like, you just restrict yourself to certain jobs, you restrict yourself to having only individual characters, stuff like that. And one of there is actually a website out there named sola.com, Sola with 3L, that has a ton of really interesting reports on solo character challenges in basically blog posts, and I can recommend you read through those. And you should start with the Black Mage and Monk classes, because if you don't necessarily know the game too well, it will give you a good introduction to the entire thing. And yes, you did hear correctly, Solo White Mage Challenge. So Solo White Mage Challenge is one of the more ridiculous ones to do in this game specifically. I guess probably in other Final Fantasies as well, but this game here, the solo character challenge for a white mage, is kind of crazy, because a white mage is almost the weakest class for physical damage output. Almost, not quite. Summoner is slightly weaker, but he also cannot equip the most common weapon that usually would give you a nice little bit of an advantage. White mages can only equip flails and stave type of weapons, which is a huge difference compared to being able to use daggers. At least you can upgrade your daggers and get better and better daggers over the course of the game pretty early on already, but you know that flail that we have? With that flail, you have to slowly plink away the enemies until very late into the game. And even later in the game, you finally do get access to one offensive spell that is actually really strong, but it's just one and really late. Once you reach that point, you have pretty much won the game, but getting to that is kind of crazy. Once again, I've done that, and I'm glad I did it. I'm happy for the achievement. It was very satisfying to complete the game with it. But I wouldn't do it again. Maybe with a different shop class, other than the white mage. Starting out with a thief, nice, good job. Good luck, God Black's Arm. Thief is one of the more tricky starting classes. Although I dare to say it's not too difficult. It's a little bit tricky, not too bad. Good luck with that. You just need to stock up on potions before you go into the ship graveyard here. What's the strat for Fork Tower? You mean with the solo character challenge class? Essentially that is more or less a bit of how you want to look at it. What I did is I actually leveled up a second solo white mage, which sounds a bit weird if you say it like that. And I ended up using 2 solo white mages on the left and the right side of the tower. For anyone who does not know, there is that one dungeon in the game where you need to split up your party into 2 groups. One group goes to the left, one goes to the right, and you need to defeat the bosses basically simultaneously to avoid dying, essentially. At least plot-wise. Let's just fight that guy. Good after yesterday. Greetings, Tyler the driver. And thank you, I appreciate that. Hope you're doing well, sir. So, upcoming, we do have a boss. As you may have been able to guess, this boss is called Siren. Siren is interesting in that she has 2 forms. The first form is the human form, where she casts spells like Armor Up, Haste herself, which, by the way, armor reduces physical damage dealt by half. It's really strong. Haste. Haste is probably the most broken status buff in this game because it speeds up your character so extremely fast. And that is the same if Siren would do that, so we don't want to see haste here. Also, she will cast offensive spells like lightning, frost, and fire. I actually don't know whether she casts fire, but either way, she's just some offensive spells. That is Siren over there, by the way. And she will be a bit trickier to deal with, because that's just the first form. The first form does not have particularly much physical defense, but really high magical defense. So we want to deal as much damage to her in the first form as possible. After she takes 3 actions, she changes into her second form, that is Undead. Undead form can be healed and damaged through healing, which is nice, but unfortunately it also has extremely high physical defense and deals a lot of physical damage, so we need to be a bit wary of that. So, alrighty. Slow. Slow as a single target, not great because slow actually never wears off, it always stays pretty much. But it's not the worst thing that can happen to us. Probably. Unfortunately it had Ferris, who is in the back row. Then she uses Scan, which basically just tells you the level and HP amount of the enemy. Which I guess is interesting because the boss really doesn't have any reason to do that. Let's speak. Okay, that was Bolt. Lena got hit there. Changes to Undead. Okay. Now. The flail also pierces defense, so that's really nice. I'm going to heal Lena here with a potion, so nothing too bad happens, hopefully. And also I'm going to use a potion here on her that deals 50 damage. Bear Hawk, that means Butts is now poisoned. Which poison deals 1/16 of your maximum health in damage. Which at this stage is not too much damage, so we can just kind of let the poison be there, so to speak. That's alright. Bear Hawk is physical, so Ferris in the back row takes significantly less damage. My plan of combat here is to basically complete this fight as quick as possible, since we will run out of health and resources rather quickly. So we want to just deal as much damage as we can. Slow. Okay, slow missed. Spells, well, most of the status effects, not damage spells, have the chance to miss in this game. Oh nice, we got it already. Very good. Status effects have a chance to miss. I believe the base chance of hitting a status spell is 80%. Even if the status spell has a damage portion to it, if it applies a damage status, usually it will be susceptible to the hit chance. Also, we use the 2 antidotes that we found after combat. So 80% chance to hit baseline. Now the enemies usually have a level as well, and basically your character's level minus the enemy's level. No, the enemy's level. Let me try this again. The character who casts the status spell, that one's level minus the level of the character who is supposed to be hit. That is the additional chance of whether you are going to hit the enemy or not. Just kind of like the enemy is level 100 and your character is level 90. That means you have 10% less chance to hit. Just based on how the calculation works. Alrighty, we are now in Carven here. There is nothing too terribly interesting in here. We don't have any reason to check out too many things, because we don't really know what we would want to get. What do your settings mean on the left? Chaos, Berserkerrisk, etc. So, those are settings for the Forge of Fiesta. The Forge of Fiesta has various modes you can play the Forge of Fiesta in, and Chaos means I can get assigned any of the jobs in the game. Pretty much. Also here we find an ice rod, which you will see is pretty overpowered. Chaos means I will be able to get assigned any of the jobs in the game, which is going to be quite significant, since we have the fire job already with the ranger there. We buy some more potions. We probably will need them. Some antidotes, some eye drops, some maiden's kisses, some lucky mallets, and I guess a soft is fine. The rest in potions. So normally in a regular Forge of Fiesta run, that means you can only get assigned a job from the specific crystal you just unlocked. Like the wind crystal only gives you wind crystal jobs, the fire crystal only gives you fire crystal jobs, etc. But for me, any of the crystals can give me any of the jobs with the Chaos modifier. Berserkerrisk. So there's the infamous class of a Berserker in this game here. Berserkers cannot be controlled in combat, and does make it rather difficult to execute any strategy of note, so to speak. Like, just surviving with a bunch of Berserkers can be extremely difficult, since sometimes you don't actually want to attack the enemies because they have nasty counterattacks. But the Berserker just ignores that. They just kind of go, so to speak. So, well, Berserker is, is one of those classes most people don't want in their party. However, there is that Berserkerrisk where you have the increased chance of getting a Berserker in the party. Just purely based on luck, I guess. Technically the Berserkers are assigned manually. But there, something of note is probably also this Forge of Fiesta is also a bit of a charity event. Which means if you, let's say, don't like the job that you got assigned to, maybe you don't want the white mage, you want to have a thief. You can change that, but in order to do that, you will want to donate a little bit of money to a charity currently called Child's Play, and then you're allowed to change the jobs. There's also quite a few donations for overall the entire event, but more specifically the opening race of this entire event, that will allow you to see more of this. So essentially the opening race, jobs were decided mostly by votes, but someone who wanted to donate towards Child's Play would actually get a bit more voting power. So you could easily just kind of say which jobs you or the runner should have in the opening race if you want to just spend enough money. It's all for a good cause, so it's all for charity, so sounds like a good plan. And Berserkerrisk is one of those numbers that the more money gets raised before the entire season even starts, the more Berserkers will be assigned, I believe. And anyone who wants to use Berserkers that makes hashtags Berserkerrisk. So currently there are actually more Berserkers available to be distributed among the parties than there are runners with Berserkerrisk, or players, not just runners. You don't have to speedrun or go any particularly fast if you don't want to. You can just play it completely casually. Which also means some of the people will get at least 2 Berserkers, maybe 3, maybe 4. And one of the most infamous things to do in this game is play this game with 4 Berserkers. 4 Berserkers, especially in the SNES version, is one of those things that is just... well, also be equipped the Ice Rod here, you'll soon see why. The 4 Berserkers are just really rough to deal with, especially the SNES version, because you do not have control over your characters. You just kind of, you get into combat, your Berserkers start hitting on random targets. They don't even care about what's in the front row on the SNES version, Game Advance version, PlayStation version. Fun fact, the Steam version, they always target the first enemy, which makes Berserkerrisk a bit less extreme. Also, you can play the Fortune Fiesta on any version of the game you want. So, however, for the SNES version, especially, it's bad because if you cannot control any of your characters in combat, that means you cannot run away from combat. And that can be pretty rough to deal with. So, we have an Ice Rod. This is Magisa, or Magisa. And she is kind of tricky to deal with. She is kind of like a mage. Pretty much like... I'll explain what happened in just a second here. She's a mage, kind of like Siren earlier. Also, sorry about the screen tearing effect. My characters get soon healed. And currently one character is poisoned. That's alright. Magisa is basically a spellcaster. She does a bit of physical damage as well, but she will mostly just cast spells on you and be pretty tricky to deal with. She has 750 HP. The thing is, after she drops below 300 HP remaining, she will call in reinforcements from her husband, Forza, who is just kind of a brute force melee guy, who is going to be in front of her, which means Magisa is going to be then in the back row, so your physical weapons that are not ignoring the back and front row bonus will just miss. Or miss half of the damage, more specifically. So dealing with her after she drops below 300 HP can be pretty difficult. But there are those weapons called rods in this game that have 2 properties. For example, that was the Ice Rod that I picked up in the village just south of here. The Ice Rod increases the damage you deal from your ice spells if you have it equipped by 50%, so it's actually really significant and really useful on your characters. But on top of that, the Ice Rod also can be used as an item, but only if you can equip it. If you use the item known as the Ice Rod, it's known as Rod Breaking. And what Rod Breaking does for you, what Rod Breaking does for you is that it destroys the rod, which it costs 750 gold. At this point of the game, it's quite a bit of money, but all things considered, it's also relatively cheap, because it deals really powerful damage. If you break the rod, it unleashes a level 3 spell. And that level 3 spell is pretty significant, as in really significant. Okay, here I have 20 gil, that's not a whole lot. Let me actually sell some things. Maybe. Bronze armor, mithril helmet. We don't need that flame thing. Probably. Unless we get a ninja, we can't use those. Let me sell 2 phoenix stones. I most likely will not use them anyways for a while. Iron shield is really nice. And everything is iron here. We do have a bronze armor. So, okay, I'm going to actually do a pretty specific thing here. You will soon see what kind of effect this has. So because of how extreme, so to speak, defense and attack power interact with each other. By the way, those are glasses. That's an accessory item. Gives you one defense, which doesn't sound like a lot, but one defense is having usually quite an impact. Gives you 1 defense and prevents you from getting blinded. Makes sense. Hey Solimius, how are you doing? So what I did now is basically here, Ferris, she has how much defense? 15. So the next boss has an attack power range of 11 to 15, which means he will never be able to deal any damage to Ferris at all, because her defense power just completely negates whatever he can do to her. So no matter what, I will not need to worry about Ferris dying at any point, which against the next boss can be a bit of a tricky issue. It's a shame that the Steam version has vomiting inducing sprite art. Actually, the in-game, in battles, enemy sprites look really good in my opinion for their Steam version. But the map and UI is not so great. I wonder whether there are mods for that out by now. You have to start with a Blue Mage for your first challenge. Oh, nice. Blue Mage is one of the most broken classes in terms of how powerful it can be if you just know the game well enough. This is really loud. So Blue Mage, as mentioned before, Blue Mages learn abilities from enemies if they get hit by those abilities from the enemies. And that also means they will need to get hit by the abilities of the enemies in order to learn and be able to use them. But once they learn them, they can use them. And if you know which abilities to get and how they work, you can deal so much damage and utility, and just you can basically completely break the game with a Blue Mage as long as you're doing the things correctly, essentially. So, save, and we move on. So, Blue Mage is crazy powerful. You got Thief again. Hey Rizlia, hope you're doing well. Also, greetings to you, Wallkicks and Wuke and Rob Snowlock. Hope you guys are doing well. Wow, slow, stop and slow. I'm not going to fight those guys. That will take ages. By the way, we did end up getting a whip weapon for Ferris, which by the way, whip is a back row okay weapon. That means Ferris can deal full damage from the back row. Also, I'm going to equip Gallop here, Optimum. Let's see whether you get something better. Okay. Actually, you're going to be equipping the dagger here instead. So I can put Gallop in the back row because he now has a flail as well. Starting with a Black Mage on the Coven. Yes, Black Mage is very nice, I guess, as a starter. I don't think I've ever had a Black Mage as a starter. But Black Mage is definitely one of the kind of straightforward spellcasting classes and are really powerful overall. Goblin Punch. Silk Rope. I'm really not worried about dying here, so I'm just going to go ahead without saving inside here. I did just save outside anyway, so it's fine. Doing alright, should be asleep, but not deciding to start a new run sometime soon. Well, good luck with that. Monk Bros! So those guys are pretty annoying. Although they just hit Califu with everything, which doesn't really do much of it, make much of a difference. Also, about time to put my favorite character in front. I don't usually have favorites in games. That's not true. I do have a favorite in this game, and I often do have favorites in games. But in this game specifically, I really like Ferris as a character. Also, she has purple hair. What is not to like about that? Okay, this is the boss. I probably should have checked whether I have all the things equipped, because I just did pick up a silver armlet, which gives us 2 defense instead of the 1 from the classes. Oh well. So, you can see Galura is pretty strong. It deals a lot of damage. But the whip has a 50% chance of inflicting paralyze on an enemy, and Galura is susceptible to that. So we just attack him. So Galura here has 2 phases. The first phase is pretty straightforward. He attacks once in a while. Only physical attacks. Nothing too special about it. But after a while, or more specifically after he loses 400 HP, he will start counter-attacking. Every single time you attack, like here, that's a counter-attack. He can counter-attack 1 to 2 times. And there's 1 down. There's 2 down. Let's see, Galuf does take some damage here. Ferris takes no damage at all, except the Rush. So Rush actually deals a little bit of damage right there, because it inflicts a status called HP leak, which reduces your HP gradually over time. So HP leak is kind of like poison, but it wears off after a short amount of time, which deals about, I don't know, 100 damage or something like that. The thing is, because Ferris has so much armor that she cannot get damaged by Galura anyways, it ends up being the only thing that could even hurt her. But as long as she keeps paralyzing Galura, we are not in trouble anyways. Die bye, Galura. So this can be a really difficult encounter based on which character classes you have, since I do have Freelancer which can equip whips. You do not have a chop class at this point that could possibly equip whips, normally anyways. So paralyzing him is not necessarily an option. On top of that, if you have classes that need to deal physical damage because they don't have offensive spells, on top of that they also don't have as much armor in order to completely negate all the damage from Galura, well, that can make it rather difficult for you to do anything, really. So one guy get Mime as the first chop and 2 Berserkers. Wow. That's pretty rough, actually. Because he has to go at least 2 Archeo Avis with that setup. So, Berserker is here. Let's see what we get as our next chop. We unlock the next chops. Now I'm going to be tweeting. This entire randomization thingy is via Twitter. I'm going to be tweeting and unlocking my next job here. Tweet run commands. Oh no. So, we unlock the water crystal. I'm going to be tweeting right now. Your tweet has been sent, and I will receive an answer shortly as to which job I should be able to be using. That shop now has 3 Berserkers. Oh god. 3 Berserkers until you get a mime. I don't even know whether you can unlock the mime with 3 Berserkers. Unless you're probably crazy over level. Oh, smokes. So let's see. Did we get the answer already? I guess sometimes it takes a little bit until the Twitter bot answers. Although I think I can also check my jobs online. Sometimes he doesn't answer at all for some reason, and I just check my thing online. Okay, let's see. Oh, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, as expected. Because we did end up using Berserkerrisk, we do get a Berserker. So that means until the next crystal is unlocked, we have to have 4 Berserkers in our party. Which, by the way, that's actually going to be pretty rough, since there is a boss in between that. Just one. But because this is the SNES version, we cannot run from combat, so we have to literally kill everything. And we do want to grind until we have enough resources to defeat Liquid Flame. Yeah, alrighty, let's go. So, I'm using a tent here. Tents restore 1000 HP, and I should have actually used a tent after I switched jobs. Tents restore 1000 HP and 100 magic points. We don't care about magic points. We have Berserkers. Oh god. Ah. So here's the thing. I would like to get to the next town somehow without dying, but that could be rather difficult because we have Berserkers, and if we don't have weapons for our Berserkers, and more especially armor, we will not be able to get there properly. So I think I pretty much have to backtrack to the last town and buy some weapons for the Berserkers so we actually can get through. Once again, we cannot run away. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. On the bright side, we are guaranteed to unlock the Ranger after we have the next crystal. So, also, where is my stream controls? There we go, Berserker. So we now have Berserker as our second subclass. Can always keep saving and resetting. I guess that's true, yes, Tyler the driver. We can do that. Which, this shouldn't take too long either way. It was likely to happen. Yeah, it was very likely to happen. I just remembered something. How to use the speedrunning, or try to speedrun this now. There's actually a little place you can go with the Hiryu. By the way, this dragon flying type thing is called a Hiryu. And we could not enter this place earlier, but now we can. This is the hometown of Lena, also technically a Ferris. Spoilers, they are sisters, which you don't necessarily know by this point. You may have guessed it, I guess, though. And it ends up being that we do get a fair few free items in here, so we do want to go and grab those. It's locked behind cutscenes, so if you're trying to go for a speed, you don't normally want to go in here. But some of those items are really, really, really good. What are you hoping to get, Yaga? White Mage, maybe? I like White Mages, although I had my fair share of White Mages at this point. I would like to get something I haven't gotten yet. Like, I would be happy with a Monk, a Knight, stuff like that. I guess Blink would be useful for your Zerks. Yes, well, I mean, White Mages are generally just the best support class. And they do make a lot of things a lot easier, so that helps definitely tremendously. And also, I just see someone else over there did end up getting Summoner and Mystic Knight, I think. No. Blue Mage and Mystic Knight. Mystic Knights are one of my favorite classes, because I just really love the concept of imbuing your sword with an elemental power or something, and that makes it just use that element. Also, they are overall actually really strong. Mystic Knight is one, if not, well, one of the strongest individual classes in the game. The strongest is clearly the Chemist, because you can do pretty much, quite literally everything with a Chemist, as long as you know what you're doing. I think there's a high potion in here. Yes, there is. High potions you can only find at this point, or steal actually. So them restoring 500 health is quite significant. Normally, in combat anyways. But because we have Berserkers, that doesn't really matter too much anyways. Because we can't heal in combat, since we have no control over them. Hey XF, how are you doing? And greetings to you, Quadlight. I did not fix my layout Twitter yet, no. Because, well, I did not create my layout. I asked Hairclam whether he could update it, and haven't gotten a response yet. But yes, anyone who would like to follow my Twitter, follow at Don Yagamov, not just at Yagamov. At Yagamov is actually an old Twitter account that I made back in the day, but I no longer have access to it. The reason why I made that Twitter account is when I... Also, I hope the sizzling in the background is not too strong. I actually made the Twitter account back in the day when I basically had no clue what Twitter even was, for registering as for a little minigame online. And well, I no longer have access to that account, so it's actually Don Yagamov. You still technically follow me if you follow at Yagamov, but well, there's no point in that really. Maybe sometime I'm going to be famous enough that Twitter will acknowledge me and give me the actual at Yagamov. I believe that can happen. So, the nice thing about just kind of rummaging through this castle here and grabbing everything is there are quite a few valuable items in here. Especially casually, you do want to go in here and just grab stuff. Because what else would you do other than just grab stuff in an RPG? Makes the most sense, right? Cabin, ether. If you have no use for ethers, like, well, I don't right now, they do sell for a lot of money. Elixirs are just really good overall, basically no question about that. I don't know whether there's more stuff hidden in here, I guess not. Doing good, glad to hear that, XF. Playing Final Fantasy 14, watching 2 Fiesta streams at the same time. Nice. So, there's a little bit more. Please, lady, get out of my way. I guess you really want... Lady, would like to get over there. There's a little bit more over here. After the cutscene, you can go in here, meet the Chancellor, and he will give you a few more items. More specifically, he himself will give you the healing staff. This is basically just kind of a hidden passage that is reasonably easy to find. He himself will give you the healing stuff, but there are also some chests just kind of along the way too. I don't know what's in the chest, but the healing stuff is one of the best things. Gyama Bell, Shuriken, and Katana. Shuriken is a throwing weapon for the ninja. We don't have ninja class even unlocked yet. Gyama Bell is a weapon for the geomancer. Unfortunately, bells are really not good in this game. I love the concept of a bell as being a weapon, and the geomancer as a class as a whole. It's just they're kind of weak because they are, I think, percentage-based damage weapons, and because it's such little percentage and the enemies don't have that much HP yet, it ends up being just super weak most of the time. The healing stuff, on the other hand, however, there are cure spells in this game: Cure 1, Cure 2, Cure 3, or Cura, Curaga, and Cure, Cura, and Curaga. That way around. It depends on which version you play. And those healing spells, well, they are pretty potent. Cure is nice until this point, and we would actually already gain Curaga in the next town, Cura, which does heal for a fair bit. The healing stuff, when you attack with it, allows you to gain a full Cura, just as an attack. Like, you attack yourself, you heal yourself without any magic cost, which can be extremely handy if you are trying to just save money or don't have any magic points left and you don't feel like using an elixir. You should really go to bed, but I just started my run. I will play along with you guys until I pass out. Oh boy, I hope you are at least in the bed when you are doing that kind of thing, Nissan. So good luck to you, sir. They can push it. Yeah, I know it works for MMOs like that, XF. I did send an email to the Twitter stuff at some point, but I didn't get a response, so I just figured, whatever. So, I'm actually going to go ahead. I do believe, at least in the GBA version, if you open up the menu, you don't get into an encounter for a few steps. I don't know whether this works on the SNES version. I've never actually tried. I actually didn't even know that until yesterday in the race. Vagas mentioned that. So I'm curious whether I can just walk through here by just repeatedly opening up the menu. So for anyone familiar with speedruns and Lufia 2, this is actually kind of what you do in Lufia 2 as well. I think it actually works, because we should have gotten an encounter way long ago. So the reason why I'm doing this is, once again, I have Berserkers, I cannot run from battles. My Berserkers basically don't have weapons. And I would be very hard pressed to try and fight my way through here without proper weapons yet, since just in the next town over there we will end up receiving quite a few upgrades to our current equipment. So I do definitely want to go ahead and do that. So I'm actually really surprised that this works like that. I'm really surprised. I had no idea. So this is Karnak. Karnak is where the fire crystal is pretty much located. So we are actually kind of close to the fire crystal already. However, there is a pretty big roadblock, especially for a party that cannot properly target anything. Also, you can see everything is on fire, and they are fine with it. So, we try to buy a mithril shield. Hey you, don't move! Essentially, when you try to buy anything in this zone, they are going to catch you and imprison you, because they think you are the monster that emerged from the meteor, because, well, he did technically come out of the meteor just to the east of here. And so they throw you to prison for it. But the interesting thing is, they actually do give you the item that you tried to purchase just now, which is why I went over there to try and purchase a mithril shield. I probably should have purchased actually something else in hindsight, but it's okay. Oh boy, Quad Circle Living Flame, yes indeed. So, when I did my 4 Berserker challenge run last year in the 4 Shop Fiesta, I actually... that was kind of funny. I went up to Liquid Flame just to demonstrate, look guys, this is why we need to grind a bit more, and I got stupid lucky on Liquid Flame and defeated Liquid Flame at level 16, which is way too early. I dare to say level 18, 19 is when you can start trying reasonably well, but before that it's just silly. So, alrighty, maybe a little bit about Berserkers. They cannot be controlled in combat, so they need to have some advantages, right? Well, they kind of do. But the disadvantages just are overwhelming. Let me explain. The disadvantages are, of course, you can't control them, so you can't heal or do anything else in combat with them aside from them just attacking. The other huge disadvantage is the Berserker is by far the slowest class in the game. Like, it's not even funny how slow they are. Essentially, if you just have a regular class like Black Mage, essentially when the Berserker takes 2 turns, a Black Mage can take about 3. It's really crazy how slow a Berserker is, and you cannot reasonably speed them up yet. Is Ranger fast? Kind of. I'm actually wondering whether Ranger will benefit my Berserker here. You think Ranger takes forever to master though? We may have forever time anyways, but we'll see. I actually don't think I've had a Ranger before. I may have had. I probably had a Ranger before. I think I had a Ranger before. Playing on PC while watching you, oh boy. So, alrighty. You may see those chests all over the castle. You cannot access them yet. Sir, please get out of my way. You cannot access those chests yet, not until later. Also, by the way, fire! Ah, fire! Fire! Ah, fire! 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 Ah! You can interact with the flames, and they make funny faces. I like it. Ah! I have flames in the castle. Not particularly. Their final ability takes a stupid amount of AP, right? So for anyone curious what AP means, it's ability points. And since we do now have access to one of the classes, we will start gaining AP in battles. That means we will start mastering the job. So you can see in the top here, 0 out of 100. That is how much AP they have out of 100. Once they reach 100 AP, they will learn an ability from that job class. In case of Berserker, this is going to be the ability to Berserk, which takes away your control in combat. But on the bright side, they deal 50% more damage because they're Berserkers. So Berserkers are actually pretty strong in terms of just straight up physical damage output. Like, it's not to be underestimated. Alrighty, first order of operation, we need to actually real quick go into our inventory, sort everything so we have a better overview of what we have. Alrighty, we sell the broadswords, we no longer need those. We sell the flail, we probably don't have need for that. We can actually buy whips, I learned that, so I sell the whip here for now. If we need one, we can get one later. We keep the healing rod, there's only one you can get. Until I know I can't use the healing rod, I'm not going to sell it. I just sold the katana, which could have potentially been useful, but whatever. Afterwards we do have 2 leather armors, we want to replace them with an upgrade. Silk armor we cannot currently equip. Silver rings we do not want for now. Okay, we have a bunch of money. So, here you can see, if the characters on the left side, they can equip the item. If they're on the right side, they cannot equip the item. So Berserker cannot equip swords, but they can equip daggers and axes and hammers. This is a hammer, the Mithril hammer. So, axes and hammers are pretty much Berserker exclusive weapons. They are a lot like the flail, have a decently sized chance to miss. I believe the Mithril axe has an 80% chance to hit, that means 20% of the time you just straight up miss, which is kind of a big variance if you try to rely on it. On top of that, speaking of variance, 50% the damage varies by a huge amount for the Mithril axe. And it actually ends up that it's on average not even that much stronger than the Mithril dagger here, so we might as well buy 3 Mithril daggers instead. By the way, here's where you can buy rods that we used on Magisa. So we do want to have 3 more shields. As mentioned, we do have the Mithril shield already. We do want to purchase 3 more of the Mithril hats. We did get 1 Mithril hat at Magisa, because that is basically the helmet of Lena's father that we found along the way. Okay, now everybody has a hat, a shield and a weapon. And we start grinding. Because Berserkers really need levels before they can do anything useful. So the fastest way to gain levels is grind in the plains here. The fastest way to gain money is grind in the woods. In the woods you always encounter... Oh boy, that could be actually a bit dangerous. In the woods you always encounter... Good job, I killed him. You always encounter 5 wolves, I believe. They give 625 gil, like monies, which is quite a lot actually. In the plains you have encounters like this one. 8 gills are annoying because they can inflict you with the aging status effect. By the way, I'm not doing anything, they just play on their own, I guess. The aging status effect is really annoying because it gradually reduces your character's level over the duration of it. So that is pretty nasty to say the least. So we gain a few levels, and we already need to heal up here. And we only have potions to heal up. Berserkers do also have a healthy amount of, well, health. Which they need, pretty much. So let's see wolves. I believe wolves actually cannot penetrate our defense. They don't have particularly high attack power. However, they do have an interesting ability that is literally called question mark, which is what you see when they make. And that question mark ability allows them to deal as much damage as they have taken damage. So if we actually deal damage to those guys and don't quite kill them, this is really bad for us. But we should soon enough gain more modifiers and be stronger that even if we hit an enemy in the back row, we are going to kill them. However, we always start out in the front row. Remember when I said when we get back attacked, we are in... the rows are swapped, like back row is front row and front row is back row? Well, since we can't control our berserkers, they are just kind of going to be stuck in the back row and only deal half the damage, which is really bad for us. Galaf is not strong enough yet to kill a back row wolf, but however is, and I believe Ferris is too. Is the SNES version where knives have a ridiculously good damage formula? No, actually, only one specific knife has the ridiculously good damage formula. It has the bucked knife formula in the SNES version here. So if you do find wolves, they are easy to survive, plus they give us a bunch more money. Once we have enough money, I think we go ahead and purchase the rest of our mithril equipment, because might as well, right? So in the Game Boy Advance version and also SNES version, knives do not normally have an additional multiplier outside of the chicken knife. The chicken knife is a special case. So, using more potions, so we don't have to go all the way into the town every single time and heal up through using the beds, which on average is probably a lot more efficient anyways. Someone is knocking on the wall over here. So let me actually look up something real quick. So we have a ranger, or hunter, as it is called in the SNES version. Hunters have a healthy amount of agility, and their ability... There we go, alright, here's an interesting one. So, rangers do have one of the abilities to equip bows, as in once you train up your ranger class high enough, they will get equipped bow. Equipped bow actually is really good in that it gives your character the agility and also strength of the hunter, assuming the agility and strength of the hunter are, or the hunter class specifically, are stronger than what you currently have equipped. So the Berserkers have pretty much the highest strength, so we won't get the strength bonus, but we will get the bonus of having a higher agility. To give you an idea right now, Berserkers do have on baseline 15 agility. That is ridiculously low. Like, that is 11 points lower than the second slow. No, excuse me. 9 points lower than the second slowest class, so it's ridiculously slow. Hunters, on the other hand, they are pretty fast. They have 36 agility. So we more than double our agility value and will subsequently move a lot faster in combat once we do end up equipping agility on our Berserker, or more specifically equip bow on the Berserker. So once we unlock the ranger, the first thing we will want to do is get equipped bow on everybody, so the Berserkers will be able to move a fair bit faster, which is the entire idea. Hey Sloopy, how are you doing? And greetings, Limjum. Thank you, I appreciate those kind words. I just love sharing knowledge about the game. I just really like detailed game mechanics and those kinds of things. And I also find it to be really interesting. And I mean, we do want to have something to talk about while we are grinding, right? So might as well explain those things. Yeah, equip bow is really good apparently for Berserkers. So here's an interesting thing about equip bow. Hunters have an innate ability of aim, which means they always hit with their attack. It's basically just a regular attack, but they always hit. Which is extremely useful with a bow, because bows have a chance of missing, kind of like axes and stuff like that. So it's definitely extremely useful. So if you equip bow on a character that cannot normally equip bow, like a Berserker, and then actually put a bow onto them. By the way, just for reference, the ability is called equip bow. We don't actually need to equip a bow on Berserkers in order to gain the advantage of the stat bonuses. We just need to have that ability equipped onto the Berserker, and they have the stat bonus even without a bow. But if we actually on top of that do put the bow to the Berserkers, the bow has a pretty sizable chance of actually missing. So that's probably a bit less than ideal. So equip axe for your ranger as well. Yeah, I guess you do have that. Let's see, let me actually see whether I can dig up some information. So Berserkers are some of the simplest classes. They do have equip axe as their final ability that you can unlock, and Berserker as their first ability. They only have two abilities, 100 ability points, which by the way, those wolf battles only give us one ability point, so it would take 100 battles to unlock Berserk. But there are battles where you gain more. Either way, we gain 100 ability points. And we need... Wow, let's try this again. We need 500 ability points total to learn Equip Axe. Equip Axe puts the strength of the Berserker onto that character. So, because it's the highest strength class in the game, that can be quite sizable. Although, it's quote-unquote only 5 more strength than the Hunter has. So for the most part, it's not all going to be all that useful. But there are some axes that can be actually quite powerful to use, which I might end up actually just straight up go and get. We'll see. It would make your stranger do more damage even with a bow, yes. Generally true. But I don't know whether Equip Axe just for the strength bonus alone is going to be worth it. It might, just in specific instances, but for the most part I don't think Equip Axe is going to be all that great. The most important part of a Berserker is that it can equip a shield, yes. Thankfully Berserkers can equip heavy armor, which is really nice. Because we are going to go ahead and buy a bunch more. So we do have a bunch more money because the wolves do give a bunch, well, a lot of money. We want 4 mithril armors. And I guess also let's get 3 of those. You'll see in a second why I'm only getting 3. We could also get plume tats instead. So plume tat is kind of more a lightweight armor that more character classes can use, even if they can't necessarily use heavy equipment. The idea of a plume tat, however, is that... Also, that's just silly if you equip leather shoes instead of glasses, because leather shoes only gave 1 damage anyways. Oh well. Dagger sell... We really keep the knife for potential uses. The plumed hat has the hidden benefit, because I don't think it's actually displayed on the status menu. It has the hidden benefit of giving you plus... 5% magic evasion. Magic evasion is really potent, to say the least. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, I did just purchase 99 potions. They only heal 50 each. Berserkers have a ton of health. We somehow need to heal them. Potions is the best way to do so. I'm still flabbergasted that they let blue mages equip shields. Blue mages being able to equip shields is amazing. I love that. Basically, I dare to say blue and red mages are probably my favorite, some of my favorite classes in this game. Blue mage, red mage, Mystic Knight. I think those are my top 3. Which does not mean I want to get them every time I do a random Forge of Fiesta, because that might make it kind of boring. Since they are also on top of that quite powerful. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So let's see. Okay, guys, I'm back. Am I getting all legendary weapons on this run? Maybe. I don't know whether I'm going to do a whole lot of side things with this run here. This is going to be a challenge run, and I'm going to try to be as efficient and good as I can with getting through this. Also, we are now in level 11. Level 11, everybody except for Lena gets an additional attack multiplier. So they will actually consistently one-shot the wolves, even in the back row, except for Lena. She is just too weak. I believe she actually needs level 12 for that. Oh, never mind, she does get it. Oh, it's because she does get an additional multiplier from the agility bug. I see. Wow, Team Angry Shankers out there, lowering the dog population in the woods. That sounds about right, I guess. So, here are those gigantic birds called Zoo. Zoos are interesting. If you have a thief, I recommend you try to mock them and steal from them, because they do have... I believe they don't have a common steal, they only have a rare steal. Which means, if you steal something from them, it's going to be an elixir. Also, they have a 1 in 16 chance to drop an elixir in the first place. Oh, wow, thank you. I just received some curry. Very yummy. So, now here we are high enough level to reasonably level in the plains instead of leveling at the wolves. Which I'm not sure I'm going to want to do that. By the way, one nice thing about the 4-Chop Fiesta is normally, in a casual playthrough, you would not necessarily know, oh god, what do I buy now? Which equipment do I need? Do I want to buy everything for every class all the time? Well, maybe you would want to, and you would never have enough money. Unless you do a ton of grinding. Well, for a 4-Chop Fiesta, we only have specific chops, and in a lot of cases the usage of weapons and items kind of overlaps. So we're doing this here. Casual run, buy rods. You can buy rods, yes, but in this case buying rods would be kind of silly since I can't use them. Oh, you mean that kind of... yeah, I see. Yeah, rods are extremely powerful. There's actually, for the 4-Chop Fiesta, a modifier that you can specifically tell the system, so to speak, that you want at least one rod user, or you don't want any rod users, since having one or not having one really just kind of has a huge impact in how difficult the game is, especially in the early section of the game. So if you are playing this for the first time, or not playing it particularly much, I do kind of recommend just use the rods if you have trouble, unless you want a challenge. That would be okay too, in my opinion. But don't be afraid of actually using the rods if you feel like that enemy is actually really powerful, I have no idea how to deal with him. Don't be afraid to just use them sometimes. But I dare to say, one of the most useful things about using rods is that you can actually use them for leveling in specific places. Like there is an island in this world map here, just to the south, where there are always encounters with 5 black flames. And if you just use a rod on them, you gain almost as much money back as you invested into the rod and get a ton of experience with just using one rod. I think you can still wind up with no rod users in KO 750. I would be surprised in that. But yes, rod or classes are generally referred to, at least among the 4-Chop Fiesta, as 750 classes, because rods do cost 750 gil to buy. By the way, I'm probably going to say sometime rod, gold, or sometime gil. The actual currency in this game is gil, but I'm just so used to saying gold, and it's not that far off. By the way, I haven't gotten a single back attack yet in my grind. That was kind of lucky, because you do expect to get some at least sometime. I don't mind not getting any, by the way, just makes it easier for me. Can certain party combos make fourth tower unable to be cleared? For Berserkers may have trouble, but I think it can still technically be done. You just need to get really, really lucky. But if you have at least one non-Berserker... I had to say something on back attacks. If you have at least one non-Berserker, you can clear the fourth tower, because all you need is a Reflect Ring in order to be able to do the fourth tower. Quadsucker is theoretically beatable, you just have a lot of time on your hands. Actually, not necessarily, Warner. So here is the thing. For anyone who does not know, the fourth tower later in the game is a place where there is a specific boss named Omniscient. And that boss, whenever you attack him with anything but magic, he will reset the fight. Just straight up. He resets the fight by casting a reset time magic spell. Which you can imagine that's kind of a bit annoying. So the idea is, if this game had perfect type of RNG, you could just equip a weapon on a Berserker that induces silence on a proc chance, and if you just get lucky enough, the silence procs often enough and he never gets to cast his reset spell. Well, that's if you had perfect RNG in this game. However, randomness in video games, and especially this one here, is kind of limited in that eventually you will fall into the same loop again. I'm not saying it's impossible that it can't happen, but eventually you will fall into the same loop of things that happen again and again and again. Like, you attack Omniscient, he resets the fight. Next attempt to Berserker attack Omniscient, he resets the fight again. Because Berserkers always do the exact same thing, also decided by RNG, as in randomness, it's technically possible that it's impossible to clear that fight with many Berserkers. Although that chance of it being impossible is really, really low of actually happening. More than likely there is some form of setup or specific type of thing that you can do it eventually. The reason why I say this is because I actually did offline a solo Berserker challenge with emulator speed up. I would not do that without emulator speed up, at least not seriously. So what I ended up doing was, I just figured, I can just send my Berserker in there with a Mage Masher, and eventually enough silences will proc that Omniscient will die to it, right? Well, eventually it just kind of kept repeating the same patterns again and again and again, which is what I mentioned right there. Hey, please stop QQ, thank you for the good luck, I can only use that. Mage Masters and leave the game open overnight. As I said, I think if you haven't gotten the kill with the Mage Masters yet after, like, let's say an hour on Omniscient, you want to reset and change up your setup a bit. Because it's very likely that with that setup it's impossible. You got 2 elixirs and 3 leather shoes on the Wind Shrine. Nice, that's a really good start. So apparently I made a mistake. When making the rice, I did put way too little water in it. Not quite as great as it could be. But the sauce is nice, because it's curry. Yay! So let me actually see real quick. I do believe the stats... Let me check the stats. I'm just going to calculate what the next breakpoints are going to be. For Ferris, she has 48 strength, Bots will have 49, Gallop will have 48 as well, and Lena will have 46. I just know that based on which character has what. So, okay. We are currently level 12. As I said, I think around 18 is when you can reasonably try and defeat the next boss. Let's see. No, I won't do that. 16. So here's a fun fact. Level 16 is fine for all characters for a damage modifier except for Lena, because once again she has a lower strength. Let's see, 17? 17 would be enough for Lena as well. So let's actually aim for level 17 and then we go. And yes, I dare to say Game Boy Advance is probably the most popular version of this game, because it is an official English release and it's a good one. Yes, this is the SNES version with a fan translation patch. This is not an official translation. I like it. It's a... basically... this is a fan translation that came out a long time ago. Kind of like when fan translation just started appearing at the time. This was one of the earlier ones, I believe. So there's that. It's actually really nice if pretty much every attack of your Berserkers guarantees a kill on each wolf. That speeds up this thing quite tremendously. So we are now level 12, 13 on everybody, except Lena. Oh, except Gallows, sorry. We have 10,000 gold in our stash. Let's go ahead and grind on the fields here. As mentioned, this is better experience. Less gold, but better experience. Also, by the way, fun fact. The shields, the more you upgrade or the higher level your shield has, the better chance of actually blocking they have. So shields are really handy in that a leather shield has a 10% chance of blocking a physical attack. A bronze shield has a 20% chance, a iron shield I think 25%, a mithril shield has a 30%, something like that. I don't know whether those are the exact numbers. Either way, the more upgraded your shield is, the more physical attacks you just straight up block, and that is extremely valuable. So you pretty much always want to guarantee that you have the best shield on you. Later on there will be more special types of shields, where you don't just look for the block value, but that's not going to be until way later. Hey yo Flurry, it's going quite well. How are you doing? You missed the end of the run, who won? Almagas won, of course. Because he's really good at those kinds of games. But I only was about 40 minutes slower than him, came in second place apparently. So I'm quite satisfied with this. For anyone curious what the run is the opening race for the Forge of Fiesta season. As the last runner finished for the run, the Forge of Fiesta was officially opened up, and people could start getting the jobs and stuff like that. So, also, if anyone is curious, the run was basically we had 1.5 weeks to prepare for essentially creating a speedrun route throughout the game in order to be as quick as possible and beat the game as quick as possible, just kind of in a race style. There were 4 runners. Puwexel, who is a pretty renowned and really good JRPG speedrunner of many games. He used to, I think, speedrun Final Fantasy V a little bit as well, just the base game, the original. There's Almagus, who is a lot like Puwexel, probably a bit more well-versed in just kind of those kinds of more higher execution speedruns. I'm not entirely sure that's true, but he is really good at games overall, so I wouldn't be surprised. And then there's also Genya23, who is pretty much like Almagus. I don't know quite as much about him, but he's overall also a pretty decently strong JRPG speedrunner. JRPGs is when the combat is turn-based. I like turn-based games, but I don't usually speedrun those. In fact, I specifically stay away from speedrunning turn-based RPGs most of the time. There's exactly one exception I made for speedrunning them. I guess 2 by now, if you think about it. But there's one exception I made, that is Skies of Arcadia, because I really like the game that much and it deserves some speedruns. Although it's also really long. Either way, because I'm not that great in turn-based combat or menuing, because menuing is really difficult to do well and quickly and efficiently and then knowing what you're doing, because this game kind of consists of menus, essentially. And I'm really not as well versed in this, just because I don't play as many speedruns that use that kind of stuff. But I ended up being at a reasonable pace. It is actually extremely fun for me to try and come up with clever routes and tactics and strategies. So that was really fun. As I said, we had 1.5 weeks to prepare. And the run classes for the Forge of Fiesta ended up being White Mage as a starter, Berserker second, Beastmaster third, and Dragoon as a 4th job. So those are pretty special classes. And it was also a pretty interesting run, to say the least. Science87 is now hosting you. Thank you, appreciate that. Dragoon does have its strength, but for the most part, it's not a particularly good party character, so to speak. Like, if you do a solo character challenge, a solo chop challenge, solo character solo chop challenge, so to speak, Dragoon is one of the easy ones to complete. They are kind of powerful with their tools, but as mentioned in a party setting, they don't really have much to offer on their own. I really like Dragoons though. I think Beastmaster isn't that strong if you want to go fast. Actually, Beastmaster is one of the faster classes in a sense, because of the options that you have in order for you to really just use your abilities and actions for the most part. Because if you know which enemy to catch and also release on what, that can make a huge difference. Beastmaster is one of the stronger classes overall. It's not as strong as Blue Mage, because you have to actually catch and a one-time release type of thing for the monsters. In a sense, he is, as someone else said yesterday I think, Beastmaster is basically a less broken version of a Blue Mage. You're starting to deal 300 damage per hit, which is actually really nice, because 300 damage per hit is quite a lot, but more specifically the zoo, the giant birds, have 850 HP, so if 3 times 300 they just die. Also, thank you, Solin. I'm actually going to do something here. So, as mentioned earlier, axes are not that great as weapons. They do, however, have another benefit that I forgot to mention, or I guess hammers. And that benefit is that probably should not equip those yet. That benefit is that hammers do ignore 3/4 of the defense of an enemy. So that can be really, really good. Okay. There's actually one thing I left out in a previous town, or more specifically in the previous castle. I'm just going to backtrack to there for now, while killing stuff on the way, I guess. Random natural got you White Mage as a first job. Nice. White Mage is a really slow starting class, but it's not particularly difficult. But kind of slow. It can be really nice though. Oh! Natural means you need to only make your wind guy to be the wind crystal shop, right? So that means only Batsu is now White Mage, I think. Natural means no skill sharing. Oh boy. Well, I mean, white mages are really powerful in their own right. And at least they get a little bit of a benefit from mastering their own job. That is 10 plus 10% at 10% MP max in the end. Not a bad one. Sounds like good stuff. How many versions are there? I think Slam Dunk Wizard just explained that pretty well. All of those versions are different versions, essentially. PlayStation version is essentially a port of the SNES version, with small adjustments. Funnily enough, you can actually run away from combat with 4 Berserkers in the PlayStation version, even though it's more or less mostly a port of the SNES version. Which, once again, you can't run away from combat if you have 4 Berserkers. Red Mage in Classic? Or in Natural? No, Red Mage is really awesome in my opinion. He is very versatile and can pretty much cover a lot of bases. He is not strong, but he covers a lot of bases in my opinion. So I like it. Okay, so here is where we equip the hammers. Once again, one of the benefits I kind of neglected to mention is they have the ability to ignore 3/4 of the enemy's defense. They are not that accurate and the damage variance is extreme, but ignoring a good chunk of defense is really good. So I'm going to put everybody in the back row, because down here we will always get back attacked by one enemy. That one enemy is called a Garkimazra, or I don't know what it's called on the SNES version anymore. But there's also a really valuable item over here. Let's see whether we can beat this guy. He always surprise attacks us, always. Nice. He also has really high defense and counters with Moonflute. Moonflute would Berserker Cactus, but because we already have Berserkers, nope. Doesn't happen. Oh, one other benefit of Berserkers is Berserkers cannot get confused, which I guess is kind of nice. Give me a second, guys. Okay, I'm back. So, it looks like we are making... Yes, okay. We can beat Garkimazras. They only give 1 gil, and not even any ability points. But the reason why we do this is because of this item over here on the left. Those pots on the right also contain some items, but I don't care about those. This is the Elf Cape. I'm going to equip that on Gallifrey. Elf Cape gives you 1 agility, 1 magic power, a little bit of magic defense, a little bit of magic evasion that you can't see in the status menu, but more importantly, the Elf Cape has a 1 in 3 chance of letting your character dodge an attack. Kind of like the shields have a 30% chance to block the attack, it's a 1 in 3 chance for the Elf Cape to just straight up dodge. All you have is Monk plus White Mage for fighting Biblos. At least it's not just White Mage. But yeah, that could take a while. You probably want to level up a fair bit there. Pretty cool. No. They also have a fair bit of evasion. That doesn't exactly help us. I believe they're actually always critical, which basically is just a stronger base attack. At least not 4 times Geomancer versus Soul Cannon. Oh god. Oh boy. Please hit, guys. He didn't even dodge. That's why we saved outside, by the way. Good dodge. Lena, you're our only hope. Please stop missing. You can do it, Lena. Oh, she needs to dodge now. Oh, she dodged it. Attack and hit. Now, come on, Lena, you can do it. Oh, or not. Bye bye. So we did end up getting the elf cape, but well, we did not keep it because we died. Let's try this again. We do have the potential to get it, so that's nice. That elf cape is just so insanely good. It's really awesome. The reason why I mainly want it is because it turns out Galuf as a berserker just needs one more agility in order for him to get an additional attack multiplier from agility with daggers. So that ends up actually making a difference. 4 berserkers versus Sandor is pretty awful. Yeah, you level up to level 38 or so, and then you have a reasonable shot at it. Oh, I'm in the background now. Not sure what to think of that. Level 86, I don't think you need that high of a grind. With 4 Berserkers, Sandworm with level 38 is reasonable within a few attempts. 42, you have like a 1 in 3 chance to defeat Sandworm. I'm not sure what's better, back row or front row here. We keep missing, so we also deal a lot less damage if we actually hit. Nice. Good hits, guys, good hits. Very good. Do I stay in the... I guess maybe. Let's just see what happens. The battle is going to go a bit longer, but my berserkers also survive a bit longer, which is nice. So, Elf Cape. Maybe you're thinking of a different boss you need to grind that high. You were thinking of the solo character challenge for a Berserker Snuggletooth, which is what Sola did. He leveled up to 86 in order to defeat Sandworm with a solo Berserker. Fun fact, when I did that, I actually leveled up the Berserker all the way to 92, because I knew that this was when he managed to defeat Soul Cannon with a solo Berserker. So I figured might as well go all the way. Why not you try to run? Because this is the Super Nintendo version. You cannot run if you have 4 Berserkers. Or more specifically, you cannot run from combat if you do not have control over at least one of your characters. You can run from this fight actually, if you had someone you can control. It's really difficult to run, like it's a low chance of actually running away, but it's possible. Once I get past Billos, I can go get my 3rd class, Ranger. Nice. Oh, Ranger is on the island, isn't it? Oh boy, I will have to do that as well. I will have to do that as well, actually. I didn't think about this, but that's actually true. The fire crystal chops, you get 3 of them after you complete one dungeon, but you get the last 2 after the other one. I guess Hunter is going to be after the 2nd dungeon. Oh, that could take a while. Maybe we get a different shop after unlocking the fire crystals also, that could be a thing. I mean, a random run, and of all the classes I could have gotten for fire, I got one of 2 out of 16 classes that wasn't going to help you against bit loss. Welp. And the class you left in tower is the class you can only access once you enter the 3rd world. That is the Mime. Mime, I believe, is kind of almost like a freelancer job. With the difference that Mime will, instead of having an item slot, will have 3 ability slots you can assign, which is actually pretty neat. Alrighty. Nice, we actually survived this. I believe 1, maybe 2 more battles until we are out of here. And I do think I want to heal up all the way to 100%. Because she just survived with 1 HP there or so. I was lucky. Ah, so close! Getting mine with 4 Berserkers is tough too. Yeah, I don't even know whether I can do that. Level 10? I think level 10 is still reasonable within that range. Not much over leveling, but it makes it easier, so why not? Might as well. Galuf, you have an elf cape. Use it. Use it to dodge attacks, please. Monk is very strong if you grind a lot, but drops off really fast and is very one-dimensional. Yeah, that sounds about right. Monk is basic. Galuf, you didn't dodge a single time, you silly goose. Monk does indeed need to just grind a lot, since the only way he deals more damage is by gaining levels. Or, well, equipping a different class's ability. That kind of defeats the point a bit. Monk overall is the worst class? I disagree. On the other hand, I would not necessarily know what the worst class is. I think probably Berserker is actually the worst class, even though I kind of like having the challenge of having some in my party. It's a bit special. It's Monk, you just need to level a bit. Kill off 3 of your characters, level with a single Monk, and it'll be fine. Berserkers can get insta-kill weapons. I think it's way easier to complete the game with 4 Monks than 4 Berserkers though. The shields is definitely a fair point. I guess Monk is a lot like Dragoon, it just doesn't really add much to the party setting. Alrighty, we got our elf cape out of this, that's exactly what I came here for. As you could see, those Garkimazra enemies were pretty strong. So trying to get rid of them without the hammers would have been kind of a no-go. But right now I don't need the hammers anymore, I'm going to sell them again. There's just basically no reason to keep them. So I would like to keep my Phoenix Stones, I'm just going to use the inn. I will likely just sell my Phoenix Stones eventually instead of using them. As mentioned, daggers are actually maybe not even weaker than hammers on average. And most importantly, just a lot more consistent. No reason for me to have that. We don't need the leather armor anymore, we don't need the bronze anymore, we don't need the leather shoes anymore, we can sell the iron armor as well. Okay. This, I believe, Ferris is the one who still had classes. Do less defense, but she cannot get blinded, which I think I prefer. Actually, I forgot, I wanted to buy and stock up on potions. 99 potions again, please, thank you very much. Hey Blood, how are you doing? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to you, sir. How's it going? Summoner never stops being good. Yeah, it drops off a little bit in mid-game. Actually, in the early late game, it's more accurate. When you still only have Titan for dealing damage. Titan is amazing once you get it first as a summoner. But eventually, you only have Titan to deal any damage as a summoner. It drops off a little bit, but not even much. Just a tiny bit. You can break rods as well, that's true. The summoner is crazy powerful, almost throughout the game. You're fine, got a bit of a sunburn, but otherwise fine, I see. Sunburns are no fun, but if it's not too bad, it's nice. Glad to hear you're doing fine. How's the greetings to you, referee? I hope you're doing well. What makes summoners so good is you get a party reflect and party physical immune. Yes. Actually, physical absorb for a while. Not technically immune, but it's basically the same thing because it absorbs so much anyways. Especially, I would say Summoner works really well in conjunction with a Black Mage. Summoner has slightly higher magic power stat, and just kind of being able to combine both Black Mage and Summoner spells, you will never lack damage throughout the entire game, I dare to say. At least not magical one. Those wolves have such good balance standing on one leg, they do. So one nice thing I like to do with my summoner was when I got Carbuncle, which casts Reflect on your entire party, which reflects spells off of your characters to the enemy. So how AoE works in this game, area with effect damage, if you target multiple enemies, your power of the spell is reduced by 50% on all targets. But that means if you hit 2 targets, both of them take 50% damage, but if you hit 3 targets, all 3 of them take 50% of the damage. So that means, in a sense, the more targets there are, the better the AoE becomes, because you just deal more damage. With 4 targets is basically a total of 200% damage, which is really powerful. And one of the more interesting quirks about this game is you can target your own party with, let's say, 4 or just an AoE fire spell. And what that does for you, if you have reflect on your entire party, basically 200% of the damage gets reflected to the enemy. So you cast reflect and then cast spells on your own party, on everybody. 200% damage straight up. It's actually really crazy. We are level 15. 2 more levels and then we go. 1 more level, everybody except Lena will get an additional attack modifier. Actually, I think we probably can already go and just kill stuff along the way, since we will have to kill stuff along the way anyways. Maybe get 16 before we do that though, since that will make it a bit easier. So in the next section, that's the steamship, there are enemies that can do pretty nasty things to you. More specifically, there are 2 types of nasty things they can do to you. One is they can cast flash, which has a chance to blind each one of your party members, and unlike Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy I, blind actually works in this game and reduces your chance to hit by a lot. And that's really bad for you, because you have no way to remove it in combat, you just hope they hit eventually anyways. So on top of that, you will want to be wary of one of the enemies in the steamship, because if you defeat that guy last, he will summon 2 more enemies, which deal a good chunk of physical damage, so they are pretty ugly to defeat. So you will usually want to have them not die last, or even run from them for that matter. No cool blind shades? Yeah. I do have 1 pair of glasses that protect from blind on fairies, that is. Biblos is dead. Nice. Turtle shells. By the way, those turtles always have a 100% chance to drop a turtle shell. So about 5 to 6 more battles, and then we can move on into the steamship for now. Then we fight about 10 more battles, I guess, kind of along the way. Might as well grab stuff while we're in there. Let me see. A zoo only gives 90 experience, so that would be actually 6 battles in this case. But zoo with more gives more experience. Actually, just realized something. Hang on, before I go into the steamship. So we currently have mithril helmets equipped. Those give decent physical defense. But I want to have 4 plumed hats because they give some magic defense. Don't think the silver robe gives magic defense. Let's actually buy one and check. It does not give any magic defense, okay. I was just curious whether that would be the case. So the plumed hat does give us a little bit of magic defense, which is going to be useful against the boss that is upcoming. Also, physical damage is not too much of a concern on the boss. Oops, I did not mean to enter here. Physical damage is not too much of a concern on the boss, so we might as well equip something that is a bit lighter, since here's an interesting thing. You see equipment weight at the bottom. Equip weight 18 on Ferris here. What that means is they have equipment weight 18. And as you can imagine, the more equipment weight you have, the slower the characters are. How that translates into the game is quite exactly that every 8 equipment weight, like 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, etc. Every 8 equipment weight, you basically lose 1 agility. Which is kind of bad for you. Since that makes you slightly slower. It doesn't make a huge difference, but if you're just hoping to get lucky anyways, might as well optimize your chances, right? And yes, actually on some bosses going with no armor at all is actually a reasonable choice. For example, Shinryu, if you get hit, unless the armor provides some status immunities, there's not much reason to wear an armor. Funny how much better Berserkerrisk in the iOS version. Yes, actually, iOS version has pretty huge advantage where the Berserkers will always target the first enemy. Which, that is really handy. Because at least instead of randomly targeting literally any of the enemies, even if they are in the back row, it's not going to be a thing for them. Night Frost plus 3 Berserkers, well at least there's always the 5th job. I guess so. Can you do the 5th job after you already registered, by the way? Because I kind of missed the opportunity of registering for a 5th job. I feel like I should have done that. So in there's another mithril thingy, I don't care about getting that. Oh yeah, you can't run away. So crew dust are the enemies in question that can use flash to blind your characters. They also use slip, which, well, that's as much damage as they're going to deal. They die pretty quickly though, so that's nice. Hey Lethlin, how are you doing? Try tweeting hashtag 5th job at Gilgabot, see what happens. I guess that's a reasonable choice. I'll do so, because I have plenty of time while the Berserkers are fighting fights. I would doubt it works at first. Yeah, I doubt as well, but might as well try. I'm not even going to bother with the chest on the left there. That chest contains a cabin. By the way, those guys are the ones you don't want to defeat as the last enemy. Because if you do, they are going to summon 2 of those mortar traps. Which are pretty strong as mentioned before. At least physical damage output wise. Thankfully our Berserkers seem to have made short work of him, so that's nice. He pretty much just woke up. Good morning, Leslin. Welcome to the world of the living. Either way, a tent refills 1000 HP and 100 MP. A cottage always refills everything when you use it on a save point or on the overboard, so it's basically just a better tent. Mortar traps let your blue mages cheese Apocalypse though. What do they do exactly with that? I don't remember. Oh, Berserkers are not clever this time. Boom. I guess it's not that much damage because the Berserkers have pretty sizable defense. But the fact alone that they can punch through the defense of the Berserkers means they have to be pretty strong in the first place. They teach you self-destruct. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. Explode and self-destruct. Hey, Berserkers were clever. They killed the correct target first. Nice. Good job, guys. Because I don't think you actually gain more experience or gold if you defeat the mortar traps on top of it. I think I'm just going to grab all the items, because we might as well, since we are grinding here for a little while anyways. That's the wrong target. Hit the front guy. Good job. How do Berserkers determine their turn order in this game if the ATB doesn't do anything? Berserkers, I actually do not know. Berserkers are really weird in how they go, because it seems like it doesn't matter whether you get back attacked or anything like that. They will just go after the same amount of time and attack. Also, when you have dead Berserkers on the Game Advance version anyways and revive them, they immediately attack as soon as they are revived, regardless of whether they would have time or not, which is kind of strange. So Berserker turn order is really odd, to say the least. Some people also mentioned that agility doesn't help Berserkers go faster, which I would be surprised by it a little bit, because everybody always says equip agility on the Berserker for faster. But on the other hand, it's definitely possible, I guess. ATB is still moving, you just can't see it with Berserkers. I guess so. It's not quite ATB though, as I said, it works a bit differently. The nice thing is, at least one mortar trap will die this turn. Actually, both of them. Both of them are guaranteed to die. I'm the only one who always sees a face on the doors in this area. It's a little penguin. Nice. So those are the thief gloves. Thief gloves are the only item in the entire game. I think I went the wrong way. Yes. Thief gloves are the only item in the entire game that increase your chance to steal from 40% to 80% specifically. That's it. They also give a bit of agility, but I believe the Thief is specifically the only class who can even equip them. Greetings IR lead. Who won the race? Almagas ended up winning by quite a decent lead, to say the least. Never on seeing those little cute penguin faces on the door. Hey penguin! Maybe they're just opening their mouth that wide. That's kind of scary. So how much more experience do we need? Quite a bunch. Let's actually just see. Last time, as I said, I think I got stupid lucky defeating Liquid Flame at level 16. Maybe it might have been earlier than 16, but I do think I got stupid lucky. Well, let's see whether we are going to get stupid lucky again. Yeah, basically, my strategy paid off in World 2 and I started to gain ground. Although, Magus got stupid lucky in World 2, so I didn't really gain that much ground overall. On the other hand, I gained a lot of time in World 1, where Magus was supposed to pull way further ahead. So I kind of evened it out, I guess. But in World 3, it basically shows that Magus just had that much more experience with menuing and stuff like that. Electromagnetic field. Oh no! That stops my Berserkers, as in they literally cast stop on the Berserkers. So they can't do anything. Quexel ended up going with 1240. Actually, didn't manage to catch the end of the race. I ended up being too tired and needed to go to sleep. I basically set up my phone to watch the race, just kind of along the way on the side. And I don't know much after that. Was really awesome though. So, wish me luck, because I will need it. Let me see actually real quick. 18. If I remove the helmet, she has 14, so she will go slightly faster. Oh. Helmets. I forgot. Plumed helmets, that's why I bought them. Equipment weight 16 is pretty much perfect. Also that rumbling noise is pretty strong. So let's see. I optimized my chances at level 16, but it's just pure RNG. So let me explain how Liquid Flame works. Liquid Flame has 3 different forms. Whenever you hit it, it counterattacks with something, and then it changes forms. It starts in the human form. This is the form we want to see the least. Human form, when you hit it, it counterattacks with Blaze. Blaze does 25% of your maximum health and damage. So you really don't want to see that. This is Tornado form. It casts Fire on itself. Oh, not that one again. It casts Fire on itself, and it will heal itself, or try to anyways. The counterattack of the Tornado form is the weakest. Oh no, not again! We now had 3 times the human form. If we have the human form once more, we're just straight up dead. So this is the hand form. It counterattacks with Fire. Fire 2. No, I think it's the same thing. But it can only do that up to 3 times. And we're dead. I guess we survived with a tiny bit of HP and butts because of rounding errors. But there's pretty much no chance that he is going to survive the rest here. because the hand still has Fire 2 as a weapon. So that was really unlucky getting the human form that often in a row. But I do think actually we do deal enough damage. This should be sufficient. I'm currently level 16. My green is plastic, yep, Berserkers. Again. But not for too long. That's okay. It literally took you to 1 HP, then just poke you to finish the job. Yep. Here comes Magissa. Good luck. Oh, whoops, Frost Rot, bye. Nice. Alright, let's get this going. So, what we would like to see is the tornado form. By the way, it's a 50-50 in which form 6-foot flame transforms into. We would like to see the tornado form every single time, because even if it heals itself, eventually it will run out of magic to heal itself. Other than that, we would like to see the hand form. If the hand form casts Fire, or Fire 2, it can only do that 3 times. And we do have enough HP to survive 1 spell cast on each Berserker. As long as the human form doesn't show up too much. Because the human form, after 3 spell casts, we are dead. Well, 4 actually. Okay. Let's go. Also, optimally, we would finish off the job here by killing off the tornado form instead of any other form. The reason for that is because it would drop a flame ball, which we could use later, which would be nice. Oh, come on, not again. Tornado form is nice though, but it's going to heal itself because the Berserker are regenerating right now. So less than ideal, but I'm okay with it still. Come on, hand form. That's the 3rd one. We are basically dead. Unless we get a stupid lucky tornado form, hand form, 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 we are not going to win this. Also, the hand form will wipe out at least 3 of my Berserkers. So that was actually the better case scenario here, where it targets Ferris instead of Butts. So the hand form has no more thingies, but Butts needs to defend against the attack. Or that works too, I guess, if it just doesn't deal damage. So it has no more magic. That's good. But the human form is guaranteed to kill him. So that's unfortunate. I've already done that, Shiva. Good morning to you, sir. Let's actually see. How much HP does Liquid Flame have? Here, Liquid Flame has 3000 HP. So it is 11 to 12 attacks we need to hit Liquid Flame with. The next big challenge, Solo Zerker. I'm not going to do Solo Zerker on stream. I did it with emulator fast forward offline already, all the way up to Neo Extra. Including killing Necrophobia, by the way. But that would just take ages. The next solo challenge, if I do a solo challenge, would be a Bard. Because Bard is kind of stupid and I like it. Unless you do the iOS version, the also solo Berserker is nearly 0. Yes, for the final boss that is accurate. It's nearly 0, it's technically possible, but it's so unlikely that you don't even want to bother calculating the odds. I mean, it's not just odds, it's just kind of the RNG needs to line up too and not be impossible to achieve. Which we know it's not impossible based on evidence, so to speak. Thank you, Triva. Appreciate that. Somebody with a macro run constant. Yes, I've seen that too. Yes, the reason why I don't have Ranger in my party right now is because we don't have it unlocked yet. Ranger is a fire crystal job. And we won't get that specific job actually until after the library. Because that's one of the two that you get afterwards. Which is a bit unfortunate. Because it would be really nice to have that before the library. Needs to deal 12 hits of damage, starts out in human form. 11 hits of damage with 50% chance each hit for human form. I mean, 1 human form is fine, maybe even 2 later on. But if it's essentially straight up human form, and we didn't deal enough damage yet with all Berserkers, we are just kind of in bad shape. But also, I did forget to equip the plumed hats on everybody. Not the literal helmet. And of course we need to heal up to full. So, okay. Attempt number 3. If this doesn't work, I'm probably just going to call it a day for today. And then next time I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and grind probably to 21. That sounds like a reasonable thing to do anyways. Although I'm really curious what my next job would be. Flame. Well, that's a good choice here. Fire 2, we are going to survive one of those. Well, Bot is not going to survive Flame now. Too bad, bye bye. But we have 2 hand forms already. We will survive 1 more hand form counter attack. Oh, or not. By the way, normally after you're paralyzed, it takes a full turn until you can attack again, but Berserkers can attack way quicker again. And we're dead. Unless Galuf has the math on his side. He does not. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it quits for today. I'm still really tired from the run. That was about 10.5 hours for me, by the way, all the way throughout the night, since it was nighttime over here already when it started. And I'm just going to go outside, grind to level 21 next time. Maybe read a thing in the meantime. And then we continue defeating Liquid Flame. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, for listening and for lurking. I really appreciate that, and I wish you all a pleasant day, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it might be for you, and take care.